Review the lovely Jenny Beth Martin. Some of you guys, regular listeners to the show, might recall that I read one of her speeches in its entirety because it was just that good. So, good morning, Jenny Beth.
Good morning.
Let's get that mic level up.
Good morning.
All right, we're sounding better. I'm gonna get it. She's very soft-spoken. So, where are you actually out of, Jenny Beth?
I'm out of Atlanta.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, my Atlanta story, I was there one time with a band back in the day, and I bought a brand new Dodge Maxi van down on Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. I had 25 cents in my name. So that's how that works. So anyway, Jenny Beth, you've been tireless in the work that you've been doing to ensure that we have liberty in the United States. Is that,
we're joining the.
Go ahead and pick up that mic, George.
We're joining the interview with Jenny Beth Martin at the Texas Tea Party meeting training.
Let's get George his headphones there. We got El Conservador, George Rodriguez, joining us here. So,
and we're now set.
All right. So, Jenny Beth, what got you in this fight? When did you actually get involved with it?
Well, I got involved with the Tea Party movement the day that Rick Santelli had the rant on the floor of the Chicago Stock Exchange talking about the stimulus bill and how our founding fathers would be turning over in their graves. And he called for us to have tea parties like our founding father did. I was on a conference call the very next night. That day when he had his rant, I was on Twitter and email talking about it. And we had 48 tea parties the following week with 38,000 people in attendance, and we've been growing ever since.
Wow. So that's all it took to get you inspired. So up until that point in time, you're probably like a lot of the folks I know, you're just going to work every day, raising your kids, paying your taxes, and being a general good citizen.
I had been active in the Republican Party and had worked on campaigns at the local and state level prior to that, never at a national level. And one of the things that Rick Santelli said in that rant, he asked the people standing behind them who would want to pay for their neighbors' mortgages when the neighbors had houses with more bathrooms than they did. And people behind it were booing and saying no. My husband and I were coming out of our own personal financial crisis. We had just come out of bankruptcy, and after our bankruptcy, we got a call from our mortgage company asking us if we wanted to take a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac loan to stay in our house. We turned that down because we thought it was wrong for our neighbors to pay for our house. And in fact, we were cleaning our neighbors' houses the day I heard Rick Santelli's rant.
Wow. I appreciate that so much. I mean, it's so easy to reach for that government handout, but I'm like you, a veteran. They shut off my veterans health care because I don't have a war wound. So I can no longer go to the veterans hospital anymore. But they did offer me Obamacare for $65 a month.
Wow.
I turned it down.
Wow.
So not going to do it. And if they want to find me, well, let them come on. So being joined also by the mighty Heidi. So did you fly in just to speak to this conference today?
I did fly in. I spoke last night at a small gathering with local leaders from around Texas, and then I'm here today just to speak at this event, and I'm really glad that there's so many people in Texas who want to learn how to be better activists and to get trained so that we can continue to grow the Tea Party movement and broaden our base and spread our message more.
Jenny, what do you think about this, our recent election of Texas turning so much more red than before?
Well, I think that it's very good, and it shows that in Texas the groups already are talking a lot about freedom, and we have to continue to do that. And we've got to make sure that we show the distinctions between what we want as a Tea Party movement or the conservative movement wants, how there are differences between what we want and what Republicans want, and do what we can to get both the Republicans and the Democrats to do more of what we want. We want more personal freedom, more economic freedom, and we want a debt-free future.
Now we're locked in a pretty deep battle here in Texas with the speaker over the speakership, much like the battle that took place in Washington, D.C. with Baylor. Did you see this kind of division or battle between conservatives, particularly Tea Party folks, grassroots activists, as well as against establishment Republicans?
We have seen that in the Tea Party movement, and we are going to continue to see that. The things that we want for America are in line with what other Americans want. For instance, we want to see the penny plan passed. That's a plan where a budget where Congress and the government would spend 1 penny less out of every dollar that they spend. Just 1 penny less, and we'd have a balanced budget within 5 years. Over 80% of Americans agree with this, yet it isn't beneficial to elected members of Congress to start looking at how they're going to make real cuts to our budget. So they wind up attacking us rather than doing what Americans on both sides of the aisle would like to see them do. And this is not something new. This is a battle between the establishment and the people, or a battle between those who want to be free and those who have all of the power. It's a timeless battle. It's happened throughout all of history. We can see it. We saw it happen to President Reagan before he was elected president, and it happens again today. It's just that now is our time to fight the battle.
Now, one of those, the battle has to do with the message. And I know that the Tea Party Patriots has put together the message of freedom, and which I applaud completely and totally. Here in Texas, as well as in many other places, the battle is on for the Hispanic vote. And there's always this effort to reach out to the Hispanic vote with the Hispanic message. In my humble opinion, we need a freedom message. Tell us about the freedom message that the Tea Party Patriots has put together.
Well, at Tea Party Patriots, we want all Americans to pursue the American dream.
All Americans.
All Americans. And so that applies to everyone. It's not any certain special group. It's all Americans. We want there to be more personal freedom, more economic freedom, and we want to have a debt-free future. And when we focus on these items that Americans care about, I think that we can bring more people to our groups. We can bring more people to our goals, and that's what we have to do. It is a message about freedom. People love America because America is the land of the free, and we've got to do all we can to protect that and to expand that freedom. And it's a message that resonates.
And that's why people come here.
It is why people come here.
Everybody's immigrant families have come here to taste that freedom.
They have, and they come because they know that in America you can pursue your dreams. You have the freedom to do that, and we want to make sure that we protect that freedom and that we expand on that freedom.
Hi, Jenny Beth. I'm Heidi. And I wanted to, from what I understand from Tanya and George, I'm kind of a school marmish type for my radio show. I do a lot of detail-heavy, detail-oriented education. So this is intriguing to me that, from what I understand, TPP, this is the first state-level grassroots training that you've undertaken. Do you anticipate taking the template that you've built here and bringing it to other states? And the second part of that is, why did you start with the biggest state instead of one that might be smaller and more manageable? Is it because of, I guess I'm asking.
Okay, well, we have sponsored other statewide events around the country. We haven't taken it upon ourselves to organize an event in other states. So it's correct that this is the first time that we have done something like this at a statewide level. I want to make sure that, as I say that, I'm not in any way undermining the groups around the country in other states who've taken the initiative to do this themselves. We were asked by the local groups here if we would help, if we'd step up and do this. A lot of the local leaders have been to our training that we've done at other events. Usually those events are focused on local leaders from around the country. And they said, we'd really like it if you bring it to Texas. So we did that. We also know that in Texas, while it did go redder in these elections, that those on the center left of the political aisle have organized Battleground Texas. I don't think that the left is giving up the hope of trying to flip Texas from red to blue. And so we want to make sure that the activists here are equipped so that they can counter what the left is doing, and more than just countering what the left is doing, bring more people to our cause.
One last question from me, regarding, and that's regarding again this this training that you, that in my opinion, is so successful here. Is there a possibility of taking it into the border states, where, particularly like South Texas, I'm going to really lobby to have this taken into South Texas, where we can take the message. Tell me a little bit about doing a tour or something like that.
You know, we haven't thought of doing a tour the way that you just described, and I think that's a great idea, George, and it's something that we need to look into. We've done a lot to talk about our message, to talk about the language of liberty, to train activists on how to spread this message. We're doing this now to train activists on how to be more effective and be more active. I like the idea that you're talking about. We have considered doing something where we do town hall meetings on our issues around the country, and I think that might be in line with what you're talking about, and we should follow up on that. It's a great idea.
I think town hall meetings like that would be fantastic. Jenny, I cannot say enough good things about what Tea Party Patriots has done, and how it's been able to mobilize so many of the grassroots folks. And you know, anything else that you would like? I just got the signal from your handler, so to speak, from Kevin, that you got 3 minutes. So anything that you'd like to add before you go?
Well, thank you so much. We do this because we want to be the best support organization for the activists around the country. So anything we can do to help with that, we want to do. People can go to teapartypatriots.org to get more information. And we have videos of a lot of the training we've already done. So for those who can't be here today, they might be able to go to teapartypatriots.org and look at our resources and our tools to get the videos and the training and take the initiative to do it on your own in your own home and with your own web browser.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
All right, I got one more question.
Yes.
I still got 1 minute. I like the idea of just taking one penny out of every dollar that they're going to spend. But the truth of the matter is simply this. We're already so far underwater, I don't see any possible way that we could ever save this country. And I think that we need to be, if we were really meaningfully going to try to save the country, I think we need to be asking them to save 50 cents out of every dollar, because we are in deep.
We are in deep trouble. It's $18 trillion in debt. What we've done is we've said, what is a way that we can get this budget balanced, that Americans think is a reasonable, and not even just a reasonable, but a very good plan. The penny plan is that solution. And the fact is, if they would do this and they cut 1 penny within less than 5 years of the current spending level, we would have a balanced budget. Now, once we have a balanced budget, we can take the money that we have left over and begin paying down our debt. I do not subscribe to the thought that all is hopeless and all is lost. I don't get up in the morning, I don't travel around this country, I don't sacrifice the time with my children because I think all is lost. There are things that keep me up at night, and during the day I focus on the things that get me out of bed in the morning. And the most important and motivating factor for me is that there are people just like you and those listening to this radio program right now who love our country, who love freedom, and are doing all we can to protect and expand it. We're not alone. We are not alone, and we are going to succeed.
Well, I appreciate it. Jenny Beth Martin, thank you for coming and being on the show today. And I know that we have to let you go, and I was also hoping to get Kevin on here.
Thank you.
Texas,
thank you so much.
At the Texas Tea Party Patriots
Black Green Reaching Elvis Radio. We're going to hit a quick break. We're going to try to get Kevin
leading us here. We're going to try to get Kevin Brock.
Thank you guys for being with us today on a Saturday live from Houston. Tea Party Patriots. We got El Conservador, George Rodriguez.
Hey.
We got the mighty Heidi Hansen, the Apostle Believer, T. Kamali Monte. We got Pedro Rivera. And I see Suzette Griffin over there. Not paying any attention to me. She should come over here so we can get a fresh picture. That way I can raise the golf straight up. Kevin, you going to come sit down with us for a minute?
Don't think I'm under the bus. Call out my name.
Before
You need me to move?
No, no. He's going to be over there to take pictures. What? Feedback again.
I don't know why I'm getting